Hey, friends. It's always amazing to go live with you. I hope you are all doing well. And I can't believe it's like I always say that, like, I can't believe that we are already kind of at the end of summer. So I hope all of you had a chance to have a wonderful summer. As always, thank you so much for being here with me. I am so grateful for you because I know there are so many other places that you can be. So thank you. And please share, like, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you the incredible guests that we've been bringing you. Today, I'm really excited about our guest because I love what I do. I mean, all of my guests just inspire me, and today's guest is super inspiring. So, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Grace Redman, and we are on another episode of Real Talk, where I get to have real life, raw conversations with incredible people from my circles and communities who overcome challenges and really create amazing, despite the circumstances. And today, I'm really excited to host the incredible, inspiring Jennie Lok. Jennie is a dedicated realtor, passive income coach, founder of Zen Coast University, and investor, helping individuals cultivate passive income to focus on their passions. Jennie purchased her first home at the age of 23, and she was able to retire her immigrant parents before she turned 30. With a portfolio of over 230 properties nationwide, she specializes in various investments from short term rentals to commercial properties. Her ultimate goal is to unlock the potential within people, guide them towards financial freedom, and enable them to achieve dreams they might never have dared to dream before. Jennie has been awarded the recognition of 30 under 30 for the National Association of Realtors and leads one of the top 1% teams in her area. Outside of her professional life, she leads a professional women's empowerment group, actively working to provide resources and forge meaningful connections for others. She's really amazing and someone that I just adore. Help me welcome Jennie Lok to the show today. Hi, Jennie.
Hi, Grace. Thank you so much for having me. I love the energy and I love having you at one of our women's empowerment classes and sessions. And you led a great one on NLP. So excited to collaborate more together.
Thank you. I am excited too. And I'm so excited to have you on today because there's so many questions I want to ask because again, you're just so impressive. I mean, you're just a very not only impressive, but very kind. And I hear there's noise in my background, so bear with me. Um, Not only are you impressive, but you're also very genuine and kind, sincere. You have great energy, and I always love being around you. So I'm so grateful that we've connected, and I'm looking forward to sharing you with our audience. So many fun things about you. And one of the funnest things is you started your sales career at the age of 12.
Yes.
So
I
tell us the story.
Yeah, started by selling sneakers. I would go on forums and eBay and go buy Jordans and Nikes and sneakers online that were slightly used, and then would be able to clean them up with a toothbrush and just really take nicer photos and rebrand and repurpose it to sell it for a profit. And that was my first sales gig, was selling shoes at 12.
And so what gave you that idea at 12 years old? We're typically just playing outside. We're not even thinking about selling anything.
Yeah. At that time, like, my parents are immigrants. They immigrated from China, and they worked in a clothing factory. They would work 14, 16-hour days, 7 days a week. So it was honestly out of boredom. And it's like, if I want any of my own money to play with, like, I would only get money once a year. It was during Chinese New Year. Uh,
Mhm.
we didn't have allowance or anything else. So that's where it's like, okay, I have to figure out, save all my Chinese New Year money and grow that to last me to go throughout the year. Because I liked sneakers at that time too. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York. So that was, we were called hype beasts. And I wanted my own sneakers, but I didn't want to just use all my money on that. So it's like, how did I make that money grow? And
Wow.
yeah, so that's where I just had that little entrepreneur bug and had probably sneakers as a 12-year-old stacked like boxes in my room back then. It would go to the ceiling.
I remember that because my son did the same thing, and in my mind I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, Mom, you don't get it. Like these sneakers, they really go for, a lot of money. And so it's also exciting to watch someone,
Mhm,
so young doing something so adult. And so that's how you started your career when you were 12 years old.
mhm.
And so what was the next step for you? And the other question is, what brought you from Brooklyn to the Bay Area?
Yeah. So going to high school in New York, from deep Brooklyn to Manhattan, I had to commute probably an hour and a half each way on public transportation. And then I just remember it being very cold one winter. And I would see the students who were 2 years above me who just started college. And then some went to NYU, some went to state universities in New York. And then all their pictures were bundled up on Facebook, just like playing cards inside, and just in a cafeteria, versus I would see like these two other friends who graduated and went to the University of Southern California. They're all tan, we're wearing the cardinal red and gold, going to football games, and actually that, and outside in sunshine. I was like, that sounds way better. So
Right?
I set a goal to come out to California. I applied to like University of San Diego. I didn't even know it was like a Jesuit school. I didn't know what Jesuit was.
I thought
Um,
so.
and those, I just applied to a bunch of like schools. USC was the top one. So that's where I'm really grateful to have been able to get in. And I just had my eyes set on California.
Nice. What an incredible accomplishment also to get into USC as well. So you've been an achiever from, a very young age. And you talked to us a little bit about your why when you were 12 years old. Like you wanted, the sneakers, and you only got, money once a year at Chinese New Year. So the why was, wanted to have things that you didn't have. Coming to California, the why was, you wanted to be, in the sun. Was there a bigger why than that?
Was definitely to explore and see the world. And then once I got here, I realized my parents actually made me promise. They're like, we'll only let you go to USC if you promise after graduation to come back.
Mhm.
And I didn't apply for any jobs in New York. I only applied for, yeah, I applied for Teach for America. So my passion was actually teaching. I used to teach my like stuffed animals as like a five,
Aw,
6 year old. They would have their black and white marble notebooks, and I applied for Teach for America, which was my top choice. And I got in, but my dad, he was a teacher back in China and then immigrated here. But the salaries are not that great, especially for Teach for America is teaching lower income students. And there's a lot of stress in that because they're going through struggles back at home, and for them like going to school, it's they're kind of just forced to, they don't want to go to school. So those are things where my dad, luckily I listened to him, and he told me to take the corporate route. And my other job offer was at Oracle, which is a tech company here in the Bay Area. So that's what brought me from LA up to the Bay Area. I was like, sorry, mom, dad, this is the only job offer. I was willing to go back um, to Baltimore, which is closer to you, but they let me take the tech position. And I just started loving it out here, and got my first home at the age of 23 years old.
which is so
So I did.
impressive, especially in our housing market climate at any time.
Yes, it's all about education, and there's a lot of creative ways. And I just calculated, how can I be able to get leverage a home equity line of credit for a down payment for my parents' house, and then be able to rent out every single room and get
Brilliant.
other roommates to be able to help pay for the rent. And even when I was renting, I would become the master tenant, so then I would lower my rent and then increase the other tenants' rent, and then eventually rented out my room like half the time to my friend, and was only paying $400. But I was always
Very
finding
savvy.
ways to save money for the long term, because I realized I loved it out in California, and my goal was to move my parents out here. And I
Mhm.
had to somehow convince them. And now looking back, as Steve Jobs always says, it's like you don't know the dots are there until like you've gone through it to be able to connect the dots.
Ugh,
So just being able to connect the dots of like living out here and just buying a house for them and being getting real estate, buying a house for them, retiring them, and now we're living the great life of being so close together. And yeah, just went on a walk with my mom in the middle of the day, and she had her little wine, just walking at 12:30 in the afternoon,
I
and
love
then
it, and that's financial freedom. It's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yes.
And so this is how the universe works. You just talked about looking back and connecting the dots. I
Mhm.
just had another call about an hour ago where we talked about look back and you'll connect the dots.
Mhm.
So, for those of you listening, watching, um, when you look back, definitely start connecting the dots because nothing is in vain. It's all connected to get you to where you are today. Would you say that's true?
Mhm. Yes, I definitely believe it. Before, I wasn't super spiritual of a person, but after going through the work and doing meditations and um, doing the self work of shadow work and plant medicine, like it's been able to really help me get to this next level of, yeah, there is a higher being, and being able to realize everything happens for a reason. And even when there's struggles that I'm going through, what I've learned to realize is just reframing what is the gift in that moment, what is that dot creating and like teaching me to be the best version of myself for the future. I might not see it until like 5 years, 3 years, like 10 years from now, but really appreciating even the downside. So an example is like when I got COVID, and being in real estate, we're essential workers. We have to go show houses, but then that's when physically couldn't. I didn't want to get anyone sick. So that's when I actually started to like hire my own team and be able to build out. And that gave me so much more confidence to get to where I am today. But without having COVID, I don't think I would have done that. I would have been like, no, I want to do everything myself.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Okay. I struggle with that myself. And to create the type of business that will give you the financial freedom, I do believe a team is necessary.
Mhm.
Cannot do it ourselves. And the beauty of having a team is not only the collaboration, but you're helping somebody else as well.
Yes.
What inspired you to get into real estate? I mean, I know Oracle. I staffed for Oracle many years ago. I mean, Oracle was one of, it probably still is one of the top tech companies. And if you worked at Oracle, like you were the top of the top because like you got in there and it was a grind and a hustle. Um, but they had the best of the best. What inspired you to leave Oracle to go to real estate?
Yes. It was going to like a free coaching seminar. It was a first like a free hour, like 1 hour course that led into a 3 day training of what the potential was in real estate. Because when I was at Oracle, we were based on base salary and then commissions on your on target earnings. So we are making like 45,000 base and then 45,000 on top if we hit our number. And when qualifying for a loan and all that, like they don't look at your commission bonus as much. So I
Mhm.
was trying to ask for a raise on my $3,000 raise. And it's like you can adjust my numbers and stuff, but then they said no. So I felt like there was just a limit and a cap of what I could make. There is that ceiling and that barrier. And we were also limited to the territories we can sell of certain zip codes and then certain products also. And we couldn't really control that. And I had territory of Colorado, which was further away. I don't really know the area there. But then once I started learning, hey, I can sell homes that you can physically see, and there's no territory, like no one owns an area in real estate. You just go out and it's kind of a free for all.
It
So
is.
that's where I realized there's no cap to my calling and being able to help as many people as possible versus like, hey, once I've reached everyone I've called on my list, like I just call them again and they're not ready to buy. It's it was hard at Oracle, but taught me a lot of life skills of cold calling, of outreach. But I think that's what made the big shift, and being able to help people personally too, versus helping with Oracle. It's like a great solution, great product, but I did not know what I was selling, to be honest. I was like, they constantly added new products and technology and middleware, cloud, all this. And even the senior executives, they were just acquiring companies and they didn't know what the product was and how it integrated. So I didn't believe in the product
That's
after a
huge.
while. And I think it's very important to believe in the product, which is for me, it's like home ownership. Like I, as a 23-year-old, was able to purchase a home, live basically rent free, build equity, build almost I built almost like that same income every single year by just collecting rent. And
Amazing.
and I was like, what else is like where else is there a great opportunity to do this?
I mean, amazing. And you said something, you doing real estate didn't put a cap on your calling. I
Mhm.
love that phrase. Talk to me about
Mhm.
that. There is not a cap on your calling.
Yes, yeah. One of my mentors, Brittany Turner, she always says that, and she owns a private island in the British
Mm,
Virgin Islands, and her calling is to be able to help with ending human sex trafficking around the world. And that's when she really shared, like, she went out there, lived out of her car, flipped homes, and went through a lot of struggles, went through a crazy divorce, like all these things, but there was no cap on her calling because, like, she was so driven to her calling of being able to save women and babies from being sex trafficked around the world. So that's where I feel like my calling is to be able to help heal people, especially women and also women of color, to be able to get them through generational traumas. And it's a constant cycle. Like the people who have gone through sexual abuse and all that, and it's they carry a lot of trauma that gets passed down on multiple generations. You carry 7 to 10 generations of the DNA and also the trauma. So my goal is to be able to help with tools to be able to heal that. And that's where my calling is, like, to have retreat centers such as like the one I have in Hawaii. And we're hosting a retreat next month to be able to go through all the modalities that I've went through and other people have went through to be able to help heal and elevate human consciousness to the next level.
yes, and I'm with you on that. I think, ooh, I'm getting emotional because it's so powerful. Yes, I mean, I didn't really know anything about generational trauma until, I went back to get coach certified. It's almost been, 9 years now, not realizing that yes, I was successful, but I could feel something was holding me back and I was exhausted. Well, it was the generational trauma that I didn't even really realize I carried. And although there was success there, it could only go to this point and then bring up, then I'd fall
Mhm,
back. And in starting to heal that trauma, heal myself and recognize that this is bigger than myself, that
mhm,
the real shifts and transformations really began to happen. And I know some people might call it woo woo, but it's real.
mhm,
And we need to get it out there in in a we need to get it out there to mainstream in layman's terms so it's not dismissed as woo woo. What do you think?
definitely agree. I think there's a lot of like um, things that are focused on abundance, like making a lot of money and all that, but they are not happy. And then there's alignment, which is like the woo woo, go in the woods, all that, meditate, but then they're not wealthy. So it's like
Right.
there's that synergy where you can meet alignment and abundance together. Or alignment and achievement. So it's achievement and alignment and merge that. And that's what true abundance is. And I know Deepak Chopra like talks a lot about that too. And that's where I want to be able to be a part of that movement to teach people to tap in. And like being pregnant right now, I'm super excited to have like a natural home birth at home. And 99% of people are like, what? You're so crazy. Like, I would never do that. You're not going to get
That's
it epidural. Um, but that's where it's like, I know the strength in me is like the modalities of being able to tap into spirit, um, tap into the greater being, and be able to endure and transfer what it's everything's in our head. It's all mindsets. Transfer the pain to pleasure. It's like, hey, how can we transfer like what a tough time is to like what is a gift that I'm learning in this moment? And all these lessons help me have gotten me to that next level in life.
Yes, and in resilience, I know it builds resilience, and in my experience, um, that builds confidence.
Hmm.
And then, what you said, when you look back and you connect the dots, you say, okay, well, I've been through these hard times. I've done it once. I can do it again. And then that resilience builds the confidence, then starts, healing. And then that's when the more abundance comes.
Hmm.
I love when you said achievement and alignment, because I believe that there, and I could be wrong, but there is a belief around that achievement, isn't really connection. Like achievement, you should just, like you said, sit in the woods and meditate, and achievement shouldn't mean anything. But I think it, it can be this and that. It doesn't have to be this or that. Just because you're interested to achieve and you want wealth doesn't mean you're not aligned to spirit, or you're
Hmm.
not aligned to a higher power. Can you speak a little bit to that and what your thoughts are?
Yeah. Definitely being able, because I was like an individual contributor at Oracle, and even when I got into real estate, and I felt like there was just always still a cap that I had in my mindset of what was possible. But once I started really focusing on alignment and starting my mornings, for example, with the Miracle Morning, which is by Hal Elrod Savers, is silence and meditation, affirmations, and affirming who am I going to become. I'm going to become a billionaire. I am going to be a private island owner to help heal 1 million people in this world. And then visualization, visualizing my private island, having the vision board up. E is exercise, and R is reading and self development reading, and then S is scribing. So being able to tap into that spirituality side really helped me get grounded to not feel so much stress throughout the day and be in what we call flow state.
Yes.
So that's where I'm able to do a lot more by being grounded, by slowing down, by knowing what is the noise that I can filter out and what is things I need to focus on. And when I just need time for myself, because a lot of people, as you mentioned, like resilience, but you need to build your resilience. And if you're constantly tugging, I use a rubber band analogy. It's like you kind of start off as like a tiny thin rubber band and you kind of pull that until you like build a little bit more resilience, um, or like a battery pack, right? It's like you can't overpower and overwork the battery. So it's like eventually you get it to build up, and build on it versus tearing apart. So that's where slowly working and building your resilience by working on yourself and working through the triggers that you have that you don't even know that you have that have been passed down, and knowing what affects you and how people affect you, and note that it's all controllable.
Yes.
That's all I would say. It's like figuring out what you can control, what you can't control is the biggest thing in life.
Yes, amen. And I love the Savers and Hal Elrod, the Miracle Morning. I mean, definitely helps. It's helped me, and I continue to do it as well. And like you said, when we're focused on that morning routine, it gives me more space in the day, and also it helps me kind of be discerning of the distractions, because we have so many distractions coming from all sides, that when I find myself that I'm grounded, I'm really better at managing the distractions, or not even allowing them in my space. Because I love what you said, when we're grounded, we are more productive, and we do have more space. How do you feel, because I'm definitely a hustler and a grinder, and I know that we need to rest, play, and have fun. how can we combine all of that to still continue to take massive action and create, because it does take massive action to create. We cannot just, yes, the universe works on our behalf, but we need to take action. How can we combine the hustle and grind with the rest, playfulness, and fun to be successful?
Yeah, great question. And that's why I love retreats. And I've actually been kind of holding back from going to big conferences because I realize my personality, it's like there's so much going on. That's like the hustle and the grind versus
Mhm.
retreats when you're going deep and going in with 10 to 20 people who are looking at doing the work with meditation, with yoga, um, with just vision planning and purpose. So that's why we built our retreat center in Hawaii. It's like, hey, how can you combine both of those where
Mm.
you can relax, enjoy the beautiful, calming waves of the ocean and in nature, in a beautiful creative space while also working on creating your map and your game plan. So being able to discern and go through and really planning everything. So some books that I love is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And
Nice.
he talks about the priority week and being able to plan out your whole year. So I actually planned out this whole year, even like to the T of like getting pregnant in the beginning of the year so
You
that
did. Bless.
yeah, selling season of real estate is summertime so that I can have like Q4 to be able to relax and be in tune with my baby and just like be with him. And but like planning all your fun stuff first, or yeah, like all the things for you. And then I also teach things in 7 F's. So it's going to be fun, family, friends, finances, fitness, philanthropy, which is a P, but and then
Yeah.
um, and then also I think faith. Yeah, so
Oh,
faith,
I love
and then just figuring out every single year is slightly different, right? So it's like, okay, I spent a lot of time with friends last year, and this year, or maybe last year was a lot more, honestly, was more on fitness. It was a lot of fitness, like got healthy, did my biome, and because I was preparing my body to like get
that.
pregnant. So that was my main goal. And this year is like, okay, my thing is fun because like, okay, I don't know what life will be afterwards, but fun and then family. And then finances are up there. So being able to know from the 7 F's, what do you prioritize? And then be able to look at the whole calendar in whole and time block and pre-plan events. And no, things could be changeable, but put your fun stuff first, your fun family vacations, put the all that. And I always have like a rule, have 2 vacations planned because like a lot of people have like when they come back from vacation, they're super sad. They're like, oh, I want to go back on vacation. I don't want to go back to work. But if you already have your next one planned, even if you don't have the money to pay for it,
Right.
like you
But why?
will get
Yeah.
away.
Something to look forward to.
Exactly. And we always see like the most deals happen right before you go on vacation or on vacation or something. So that's when it's like you're calling into the universe and the universe will listen to you and hear you once you're ready. But if you are like keep pushing out that vacation, that Europe trip, like, oh, like I won't book it until I have the finances, but you can put it on a credit card, pay and payment plan, like don't go all out and go on like a 5-star luxury hotel all
Right.
inclusive. It's like, hey, book the flight or something that can be changeable.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, and then plan everything else like of your priority from there. And then ensuring that on a day-to-day basis, like you have that savers or miracle morning where you are really working and giving time for yourself to fill your own cup before you're filling other people's cups.
Which is so important, and, during my career, I burnt out so many times because I didn't know any of this to fill my cup. I knew how to 10x it and how to create, success, but I didn't know how to take care of myself. And now it feels so different. And in my generation, we were taught you take care of everyone else first, not
Mhm.
realizing that it depleted us. And now it made us feel like we were selfish if we took care of others. And now we need to take care of ourselves first and fill ourselves, because then how are we going to give if we're giving from there, we can't give from empty. And
Exactly.
that creates, the dis-ease, the illness. Um, and it's not selfish. It's important for us to give to ourselves first.
Hmm. Yeah. Just being able to, even if it's just 5 minutes to start with, of just breath work and just being in silence, or just taking a bath. Like,
I've I've been going, so fast, recently, and I'm like, okay, Grace, you don't want to burn out. And I said, no, I'm aware. So now I'm more aware. I'm aware, and so I've been taking like 10-minute meditation breaks where I put on the Breathe app. I found a 10-minute meditation that I love. I kid you not, it just recharges me, and then I come back and I finish what I need to. So I've never done that before because in the past I'm like, oh my God, 10 minutes? Like that's insane. I can't take 10 minutes. Well, you can't afford not to take 10 minutes.
exactly. Hmm.
So um I know for me, I still face that imposter syndrome. From time to time, it comes up and that doubt comes in. How do you overcome that doubt or that imposter syndrome? Because I know you have like, because when we have these like I have these big ridiculous dreams, and
Yes.
the mind's like, yeah, sure, right, whatever. I know you have incredible dreams. Do you ever have that doubt? And if so, like, how do you overcome it?
Definitely do. There's just days I'm like, especially like in my third trimester right now, people are like, how long are you going to take off? Are you like, you should take at least 4 months, 6 months, a year off or something. But I also love what I do. And I feel like what I do is not work and it's my calling, my purpose. And I don't want to also have any animosity towards my child for me not for like kind of stalling my calling, and stopping that, but knowing, taking it easy and like putting taking it as it comes. But I constantly have that, I'm like, should I just stop? Like, I already have my passive income, I already have, like, I can just retire right now, let me just do that. Like, there's days I do feel like that.
I'm just
But
you are, believe me, you're not going to do that. I know.
yes, and how I that really helps is, it's really important to have great mentors and accountability around you to help keep you invigorated and keep you up too. So I'm in a few mastermind groups. So with Brittany Turner, she's like, I see her, I'm like, she owns a private island, she's doing all this. I don't have to be just like her, but at least um, I see what is possible too.
Yes.
Because then you see, okay, you can be a badass mama, run multiple businesses and change the world, save lives, have a
Yes.
nonprofit, and do all of this. And she's still like loving her baby and all that stuff. So those are things where really having people around you of like who you want to get to. And last time when we had our presentation, we talked about the different levels of consciousness too.
Yes.
And when people are in a higher vibration and constant consciousness, you want to be around those people. So that's what I'm doing, is like to surround myself with people who are on that higher vibration, because when people are on lower vibrations, they're going to bring me down. So I
Yes.
listening to their podcasts, like listening to their books, or just some meditation, talking to you, listening to your podcast, like that's what keeps me motivated. Because then you're not alone.
Yeah.
And we always say it's like you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And it doesn't always have to be like physical best friends that you actually hang out with, but if I'm surrounding myself with like Sarah Blakely, like content, who's a self-made billionaire who made Spanx, and like how fun she is, like, even though I don't know her personally, like I absorb her information. Like, I say I hang out with her.
You know what's crazy? I told you I had a call earlier, and we talked about connecting the dots. And
Uh-huh.
she also talked about Sarah Blakely. And she said that Sarah Blakely would come to the dinner. I'm just getting emotional because look at this, is all connected. Sarah Blakely would come to the dinner table, and her dad would ask her, what did you fail at today? And she
Mm-hmm.
said she attributes her success to, that conversation each night at the dinner table about, okay, what did you fail at? And then they would turn it around to, okay, what came out of that? And so I
Mm.
love how you just brought her up. And the call that I was on was with very elevated, very successful, individuals. And it's interesting how you just brought up exactly two of the same conversations, which is showing like, okay, this is, elevated. And you're right. You want to surround yourself, with people that are inspiring and doing things that you want to do because it shows you what's possible. I know for me, I love being in those groups because it shows me what's possible.
Mhm.
And it inspires me every day and gives me that drive.
Yes,
What
I
gives
love
you
it.
your drive?
At first was my parents, being able to help them retire, and that was like my big why, my big purpose, right? And it was just like, hey, how can I get them to live out here? Now seeing them enjoy retirement, like they used to work crazy long hours on in a laborious setting where they had to manage a lot of people versus now like my dad is painting a like an old diaper table and I'm going on a walk with my mom and she's just drinking wine in the middle of the day. So that's what was my like big drive before, but now it's like it constantly changes because it's like I was a little bit lost. Once I'm like, okay, I have my parents retired. Now what? That was like my whole
Mhm.
life goal. um,
Feel
but
you.
and there's a little depression there. It's like I feel like I have no purpose in life anymore. But being able to go to Brittany Turner's, she has a private island and she has retreats and some masterminds, and she helped me with writing my eulogy. So it seems a little bit morbid, but I wrote my eulogy of I'm 123 years old at that time, and then I'm going to space, and then I'm holding hands with my husband, and we're not passing away, but we're like transcending to the next universe together. So
I
that's
love
like,
fantasy like that because it brings other things to life.
yes, yeah. And it just talks about like the grandchildren, the retreat centers. Like every year we go on like a family trip and a retreat around the world at properties we own and islands we own.
Wow.
And we're actually going to Utah with the whole family. My whole extended family and his whole extended family at a property that we own in parks like near Park City, and
Yes.
the kids will see like the snow the first time. So these are things that are actually in fruition, and being able to read that every single day and know, okay, am I living in my life purpose or am I not? Um and a lot of the other things, it's just noise and being able to filter out the noise.
Yes, it's so important. I've learned this year how important it is to filter out the noise. And I choose not, because that noise, that distraction, it stops you. That's the adversary stopping you from achieving your purpose. Something that you mentioned was, your goal was to retire your parents. And then when you did that, you felt a little bit like depressed because you had, that's what you had been working on for so long. And I can relate to that because there were so many goals that I had, and then I achieved them. And then I was like, okay, what now? And same thing, I felt a little bit, down, depressed. I didn't know what was next. But that was also a time for me to, now that I look back and I connect the dots, it was a time for me to heal deeper layers and reflect
Mm,
and then have a new vision because
yeah.
nothing is coincidence.
Mhm.
Nothing is a coincidence. Like even those times, like we had to take to heal, or if there was a illness, or if there was a pregnancy and you had to take, your body slowed you down. Now I realize like that was for a reason, because we
Mhm.
need to kind of shed to be reborn again. I don't mean it
Yes.
like that, not weird, but just like we need to shed our old identity to be able, and then we need to kind of be in quiet and just be in a space of solitude to be able to step into our new identity.
Mm. Yes, I love it. And I want to share an analogy I had when I was like working through with my spiritual coach. It's like I felt like I was a race car driving on a track like a million miles per hour, like super fast, but you get burnt out. And then I saw an exit, and then I just like took the exit out of the race track, like that just circle, and broke down. I was just like, hey, it's all my parts just breaking, just crying, all that. And um, but it's the same parts, the same metal pieces, same other parts, and just knowing what you need to get rid of and what you need to add on to be able to transform my race car into, let's say, like a bigger plane, or like maybe first like a 4-seater, and then like a 12-seater, and then like a plane, and then my rocket ship that I'm going to space to.
I
It's
love
like
it.
we're constantly going through transformations.
Yes.
And you will take some of your old parts with you, but you need to shed some of the other parts and figure out what you need to add in, people you need to add into your life. And we also always say, like, if you want to go fast, go at it alone. Race car drivers are just by themselves. They might have like a pit crew here and there, but if you think about a plane or a spaceship, there's so much more people. If you want to go far, you want to go at it together. So being
Mhm.
know who is that big team that is here to like support your vision, and you're supporting their vision all together to go to space.
I love that analogy. I love metaphors. I really do because it helps me remember later because, our mind can only, keep so much. And for me, the analogies and the metaphors are amazing. I love that one. It's like if
Yeah.
you're going too fast and you feel like you're running out of gas, just take the exit and
Mhm.
give yourself some time.
Yes. And
Mhm.
whenever I'm sick too, or like whenever someone is sick, I'm like, great, this is when you are breaking down your old self and transforming
Yes.
into your new identity.
It's so true. And now I know that, but when you're in it, you don't want like you want to get back, you want to be let's get back in the car and drive fast. And I you know I think the last time that I had to kind of just step back and I did allow myself, but I still wanted to push a little bit. Now if when that happens in life again, I'm just going to allow myself to completely just be, because I can look back and I'm connecting the dots.
Mhm.
What would you say is one of the key moments that propelled your career forward?
Hmm. COVID definitely helped a lot. So, yeah, just breaking down and hunkering, like actually physically getting COVID, as I mentioned, was when I hired a virtual assistant, hired a person like a personal assistant, and it was scary to like, hey, be responsible for someone else's livelihood and payroll. But then once you do that, you're like, there's no other way. Like I'm gonna put them like ensure that they get their income and their pay. So now it's like I just hired a new executive assistant and just being able to expand and grow. And that really helped me scale and think about multiple other businesses.
Mhm,
Um, and just hiring the right coaches too,
mhm,
because people have gone through what you have gone through, maybe not in the same exact flavor, but they've gone through that. And that's where, when I've hired certain coaches to coach me on how to build a coaching business online, that's what really helped propel and transform. Where at a time we couldn't show houses anymore. We're like, okay, how am I going to sell? Like, what am I going to do for my job? So then we taught online education on real estate. And within 2 weeks, I remember it was Christmas 2020, around Christmas, 2 weeks, we just said, we're launching a course. It's $5,000. And then we have 20 spots. And then in 2 weeks, we made 100 grand. We're like,
wow.
that's amazing of like what we were able to do. And we didn't have to leave our house.
Right.
So
Amazing.
that's where that really helped me scale of like, hey, making $1 million, making $2 million, $3 million is actually not that hard. It's just like putting the plan in place.
Yes, and I've heard this before. It's as easy to make $10,000 as it is to make, $10 million.
Hmm. Yeah.
You're amazing. I mean, again, purchasing your first house at the age of 23, retiring your parents before the age of 30. I know that you already have, I know the last time we spoke, I think close to 700 doors, plus the retreat and Zen Coast University. I mean, just so many, incredible different, businesses that you have that are all of service. So for the person that's watching that thinks like this is, impossible, what
Mm,
can you tell them today to make them know your dream is possible?
mm, yes. Great question. And yeah, I was like didn't speak even English growing up. So I had immigrant parents and we didn't have much. I remember being like cutting paper towels into fours because we needed to save money. So we didn't come from a lot. So you don't need a lot. You just need to absorb the right information and get access, even if you can't pay for coaching or other things like books, libraries, audibles, like all of this are very easily accessible. YouTube videos is free. So just be able to start with that and create a game plan, and don't be afraid to reach out to people and just say hello. Can I like can I pick your brain? But also figure out a value piece that you can add to their life that will help them versus like, let me just buy you coffee. Cause now we get that a lot. And they're like, I don't even drink coffee. But, what I went to, like my first real estate mentor is like, here's 100 handwritten letters that I wrote to notice of default people of who are going through pre foreclosure. I already sent them out and gotten some responses, and I just need someone to help close. So I figured out what their pain point was of
Mhm.
like getting more leads and getting more listings and just be able to help them with that. And also being humble of like you like although I like didn't get paid for like in real estate you don't really get paid, you get paid when you close a house, but being able to take a step back and be humble and learn as much as possible. But ask a lot of questions, be curious, always be a student. You're growing
Yes.
or you're growing or you're dying. This is what I usually say.
Love it. I could stay here with you all day because we are just like right on that same wavelength in the flow. My friend Jenny is amazing. She has, several different ways that, you can reach her. I love Zen Coast University. I love that you have the real estate investing course. So can you please tell our
Yeah.
audience where they can find you?
Yes. So, first is like Instagram is easy way at JennielOK. And then just remember, I'm here to unlock your potential. And Zen Coast University. So ZenCoast university.com. We also have Lotus Rising Retreats.com. So that's our retreat center in Hawaii. And we'll have a few more retreats this upcoming year and next year. So would love for you to come to one of ours or you can host one of your own, and excited to connect with your network here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jenny. I really appreciate you joining us again. Just such an inspiration. And really anything is possible, and we'll go ahead and put all your information, but if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm definitely here to connect you with Jenny, and Jenny and I will also come back and answer any questions that we may have missed. So thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you, and for those of you watching, thank you so much. And again, so we can continue bringing you incredible guests like Jenny who inspire us, please share, subscribe, and like. Until next time, we're wishing you all an incredible, incredible